Okay, we're live now.
Oh, we're live.
We're live.
Good morning.
Sunday morning.
Here.
Tortoise and Hare.
How do we do? You, me, and you?
Oh,
You and me.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah. Another day. Yep.
Another day. Here we are. It's
Broadcasting from North Hollywood, Cust, Burbank.
we
From a friendly little building.
we got up by 9, which is good.
Oh, dude, the amount of work this morning was just painful.
Whoa, but look, check this out.
I think our volumes are good.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, we're doing it. Look at this. We got the Brady Bunch.
Dun, 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 dun.
We got to keep the music going.
Yeah,
because
you gotta. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter B and blueberries. Thank you to all of you Camarillo growers. Yep, there's a local blueberry pick farm. You pick farm. Where
we got to go check that out.
You show up, they give you a little green bucket, and you pick your heart out. You just do it.
Do they charge you by the pound or?
I think it's ounce.
Well, whatever. Is it weight or
Yeah.
is it like? Because some of them do it by, like a bushel or whatever. You know?
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
that's
like,
insane. Because you bring in kids, the little green tubs. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
B blueberries.
Yeah. So you literally get given a little tub. You go pick. They weigh tub. Charge you money. Maybe it's fill tub for a certain amount. I don't remember. I could be wrong right now, which is cool. I'm okay with that because it might be a flat fee. You fill bucket, you go home.
I think I looked it up and it was like I think it was weight based.
Yeah.
I did look that up. Yeah. So you know.
Once again, brought to you by blueberries and the
Blueberries.
letter B.
Here, I'm gonna cut that out. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So good
God.
morning. We had an adventurous week a little bit, right?
Did we?
Well, we went.
Does this camera have a home?
That's the home.
Okay, cool.
It's the coffee cam.
Okay. All right.
It's the coffee cam.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure we plugged that one in.
Oh, it's in.
Okay.
This is it. You see it? Look, if we go to the.
Wow.
Hi.
Yeah, it's nice. We're different colors in each camera.
Yeah.
So, I'm Native American down here. I'm Asian up here. Up there.
The good part is that. How many cameras is that? 7, and I've yet to add.
7, and we didn't break the internet.
And we didn't, but I didn't add anything yet. So, which means if we add more USB cards,
We can get 2 more cameras.
we could probably get a few more. I don't know.
Yeah, Brady Bunch it.
Yeah.
No, we need all 9.
Should be interesting, right?
We need all 9. Need.
Gotta have it.
Need to have. Must have.
Gotta have it.
I don't know, dude. So it's Sunday morning in America. Donald Trump is still our president. Probably will be for quite a while.
Yeah, for a minute at least, right?
Yeah. And I don't know. You wanted to talk about currency trading.
Oh. Yeah.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
That's what you call it. I was doing a couple friends of mine.
Who the hell is Peter and Paul? Why isn't it like robbing Chris to pay George?
I believe it's a biblical thing, and it has to do with.
So why can't we just do like Joseph and Jeremiah or like?
No. There's a specific story that it has to do with.
Okay.
In fact, we should just. Why don't I look that up?
You know, the best thing to do right now would be to look up that story so that we can understand it.
Here we go. There's some pretty. This is a Reddit little thing going on here.
Uh-oh.
To rob Peter to pay Paul, and other versions that have developed over the centuries. To borrow from Peter to pay Paul. To unclothe Peter to clothe Paul. Are phrases meaning to take from one person to give to another, especially when it results in the elimination of one debt by incurring another. There are many other variants and similar phrases in numerous languages.
I'm still confused on declothing Peter to clothe Paul.
The other, it's maneuvering the apostles, which has the same meaning, was derived from this expression in patchwork. To rob Peter to pay Paul is an alternative name for Duncard's path patchwork block, which is a whole nother link that I could click there, but
The rabbit hole.
So it says robbing selected
Don't fall
Peter
in
to
too
pay
deep.
for collective Paul is Rudyard Kipling's adoptive of the phrase used to criticize concepts of income redistribution and collectivism.
Mm.
So yeah, that would be one method of that, right? They swoop up a bunch of people's land and sell it off, and then pay, their other debt or something like that.
A lot of people do that.
Countries and
open up a new credit card to clear the old ones.
Yeah,
consolidate.
That whole thing. It's all good if you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole, but if you don't make wise decisions and then you're paying 20% and you miss like one payment, I mean, it's like overtime. It's very difficult to get out of some of these things, and it's usually less educated people that find themselves in those predicaments, right?
So what's going on with this money thing?
Oh,
let's hear about this money thing.
It's the weekend, but I'll pull up it's called MetaTrader 4, so I had a setup of basically like a Windows computer on the internet, and
Okay.
I like to use AWS, which is Amazon's web servers, basically. I forget what AWS stands for, but I put in some trades over.
What if it stands for Amazon Web Service?
I think it's something like that, yeah.
Right after you said Amazon's Web Service.
Yeah. I meant servers, but it is service, I'm pretty sure. But so I spun up a virtual private, whatever, not a private, but a virtual machine, Windows, and downloaded some packages from, I signed up with something called Hugo's Way, which is a trading platform.
Okay.
And put in some.
Who's Hugo?
Hugo? Just Hugo. It's a just a trading platform like eTrader or whatever it does.
It's not a friend of yours?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just a website. And you can put in like stops and stuff like that. So I have a trade going for Euro USDs, and I put it in at, I think it was like $1.12 or something like that, and my take profit is at like $1.13. So the moment that it goes above that, I can start selling again, and I should make money. Now, I'm telling you, I'm super new at this. Just started. I've done some versions of like.
I needed the sound effect. Did you get the sound effect when I did that? Yeah.
Yeah. I've done a little
Very
bit
important.
of mining, like coin
Bit
mining,
mining.
bit mining.
Oh, great.
Just a little bit of that, and I've done.
That's like your life for 15 coins.
15 coins is worth quite a bit of money right now. So, but yeah, it's one of those things that.
Excuse me, because isn't it roughly 15 coins a year on an efficient system?
Yeah, but that's gonna cost you quite a bit of money to run too.
Power, yeah.
It's funny. Last year I went to Fry's, which is like a local computer shop. It's like more than that. They sell like appliances and DVD. They sell like everything. And I went to go get
Everything
a video
you
card,
don't need.
and they didn't have any video cards at all.
Oh, wow.
It's because everyone was buying them for mining. But anyways, this is like a trading platform. I think they're switching it over to like an MT.
How the hell
MT5.
does a video card allow you to mine?
There's very fast processors inside of them that enables video gamers to, or high-end video editor, people that are editing and manipulating video at like 4K and stuff. It gives you more of that ability. It's pretty cool. Your MacBook, since it's Thunderbolt 3, is I think finally they have external video solutions for it. So you can get more video power out of your MacBook without having to add an additional screen or whatever. So the power comes out of the screen that you currently have. It like adds on to it. It's pretty cool. But back to the trading platform.
It's a little advanced for me, but I get it.
It's cool. It's cool if when you hit a wall, there's usually a solution for it, right? And it's gonna cost money. But luckily, the external video ones, I think you can get it for as low as like $300 or something like that.
I feel like last week we should have done brought to you by Apple. Thank you, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was a Windows guy for so long.
Oh,
Just forever.
PCs are
And
horrible.
making the switch to Mac,
Run your PC on your Mac.
Well, that's what I do. I have a PC laptop and I pull it out every once in a while, but it's only if I'm doing something dedicated to a Windows thing. A lot of times it's usually something to do with like Minecraft for my kid or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Jackson's still Minecrafting, huh?
A little bit from time to time.
He gets bored, opens it
We
up.
just moved and we found my old DS, my original DS. It's actually funny. It came from your little brother. And it has a card in it that allows you to play a lot of games that are old vintage games.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just reminiscing and saying how cool it was that he was playing all the old Pokemon games. Super into that. So
You should hook him up with something that's 16-bit and be like, go to town, bro.
that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's old DS, original DS, very pixelated.
But wasn't that was more than 16? That was 64.
No.
No?
No. I'm pretty sure DS is 16-bit. Let me look it up. So we went snowboarding. And we got there. It was a pretty epic day.
Oh,
but we got there.
Jeremy's reminiscing.
And it was, they were saying how it's closing today.
Yeah,
today's their last day.
Big Bear. You got to help people out here. So Southern California, Big Bear is now closed after today. I think they're open till 4. I don't know, but by 4 it'll be soup.
Yeah, for sure. We're just gonna hose it down.
And then Summit will be open till Easter. And that's it for Southern California. Now
it's funny because they were saying how they thought that Big Bear should stay open and not
instead of Summit. Yeah,
but whatever.
Summit's closer to the highway, so I think it gets more people because people are just like, oh shit, I can just park here, and if I need to, I'll bus over.
True.
So I think that's why they do it, is just, fill this parking lot, ignore that one. If that one fills, it's overflow and bus back. But I don't know. It's not like
they didn't have any of the buses out.
No, and it's Big Bear.
There was maybe 200 people there when we were there, 300 people there or something.
Maybe.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But it was it. That's it. That's the end of the day.
Go bye-bye.
So it does say, when I looked it up, that it's probably a 32-bit system.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the graphics that were on it. Oh, I'm sorry. It is a 16-bit console. It is a 16-bit.
Oh, damn.
But then they went to the other ones that were better, and they then now, of course,
it's insane.
The Switch is the new jam. But you can play a lot of retro games on Switch, which is cool. I have the game, like the little Super Nintendo, little retro, the mini one. It's like tiny.
Oh, excuse me.
And I have
got me, man. I'm not. Bobby follows the Nintendo stuff like you do.
It helps when you have kids, though, too.
Yeah, well, you also got to be a Nintendo person because you got to go back and remember, like, you were either Sega or Nintendo, or you were still stuck with Atari. If you were Atari.
Did you have any of these systems growing up? What'd you have? A Sega?
All of them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And then, because you had to have Sega in order to play Sonic. Then you had to have. So everyone. And then Atari was the original. That was just like, fucking jet thing moving around, killing shit, like simple. And then. Yeah, and then we had computer games.
Did you have like a 2600, you're saying? Like an Atari 20, the one with the button on the top of the joystick?
I don't remember. I was too young to even acknowledge what the hell the thing was.
You know what I mean?
Doing.
It was like a square.
Yeah,
and
I remember
had
the square.
Thing,
yeah.
And there was like a button in the corner and a button on the top.
I don't remember the button in the corner. I'll be on it,
There's 2 buttons on it, but whatever. That was interesting because that's when games started to like evolve a little bit from like Pong and like table tennis or whatever these types of like back and forth types of games were, to like story developed games.
Well, storyboard was computer based. So it's like Apple IIe, and you were playing Oregon Trail.
Stuff.
Yeah.
No, I get it, but they
remember
did
Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Carmen
of course.
Sandiego?
They did start developing, like, because there was this game that was called Smurfs on the Atari, and it was like you like went to go to Gargamel's castle to save
Damn, I don't remember this
the
one.
princess or whatever.
I mean,
like that.
I'm excited about it, but I don't remember it.
We should dedicate a
Podcast to an old day.
yeah, we'll like pull up some old games and check them out.
Just pull a podcast of people that just did this.
True.
Yeah.
I wonder if someone played this game.
Oh, I'm sure.
You think it exists?
And then what happened? Then Nintendo.
Well, and it was NES.
Yeah.
My parents got an NES. I think it was like 86 Christmas or something like that. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Really awesome. And Super Mario Brothers was out, and like Zelda was out, and Duck Hunt or something like that. Short of that, I don't think there was a whole lot else going on other than those.
That's all you needed.
I'm looking up this Smurfs thing, this Atari game. Wow. 1982.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
was a
it's
toddler.
It's funny. My memory of this game is better than the real thing because it just looks horrible.
Well, because you got to remember, though, back then, your memory of it is correct. Because that input wasn't pixelated then.
No, that was normal.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Like when you saw Mario hop around, you didn't acknowledge the jagged corners in his hat. You just acknowledged his head slamming into the coin box.
It's so funny. It says Smurf rescue in Gargamel's castle. I think this is the one that I'm talking about. It says video cartridge for use with the Atari 2600 VCS and Sears Video Arcade. I didn't realize Sears had a video arcade.
Yeah,
Bagging
did
like
I?
that.
This is when we need your capture card to work.
Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't working today.
Mm-mm. No. It's no, Mr. Jimmy.
What is?
No.
Oh, it looks just like the Atari.
Yeah.
It's a clone, basically.
I really dig this oh fuck button.
It's so cool how many cameras that you got going today. Super rad.
Bam.
Yeah.
Bam. I feel like we need 8 people over here? 7 people? We need 7 people. We need 5 people. More people. We have 6 microphones. And we have 7 cameras. That's right, because that's room, and then each people get camera. Each people get camera.
That's
each people
funny.
get own camera.
I think we're getting better at
Own camera
adding
each people.
stuff to it, and I think the sound level is like a little bit better today.
Today are we both wearing polo shirts? It's like fucking, what is this, like nice dressed muscle day? Oh, muscle day. Muscle day.
I had a different shirt I was gonna wear,
Oh, all right.
but then I was like, I'm gonna wear a collared shirt.
Damn, I can't believe we got 7 cameras, no stress.
7 cameras. Look, this is just 920 situation.
Yeah.
This is like, hey, how's it going? This doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Never does.
Well,
It's
hold on.
supposed to do room, but it doesn't like to do that for whatever reason.
If you do it from here.
Oh yeah, of
bam.
course. But the button
I
is
know, I'm gonna
broken.
have
You have to
it's not
delete the
broken.
button.
Yep.
Remake button.
Yep.
What about this one? This is great. Love
Mhm.
this.
Dun 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 dun.
This
dun,
is just
dun.
today's is all about blueberries.
Blueberries. I wish there was like a chime. Kind of like in the old Batman cartoon. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Like every time you
Oh.
change buttons. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
I was gonna comment on.
We can change the frame rate. How
Do you notice-
we can make it go really slow.
Do you notice how when we switch it does like a fade?
Yeah, I'm telling you, we can change that rate.
No, not just that. You need to change it to cut.
Oh.
We don't want fade. We want cut. See over there? Where it's like fade or cut? No.
Where was it?
Maybe it's in the settings and I'm just wrong. But whatever. It's all good. There was a spot for it.
Yeah, no, they moved it with the updates. Weird.
Let's see if we can.
That's a trip. I'm kind of confused right now.
There's going to be custom transitions at some point, I guess.
Yeah, there's usually a button that allows you to do frames per second on the transition, and
I'm no help because
gone.
my computer. Snap sensitivity.
yeah, nothing. I'm feeling real special right now.
It's okay.
Real special.
Frame parades.
Tell you what.
Advanced scenes and sources.
Oh, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what.
Oh, it's in the transform, right?
In the what?
You don't see the scene transitions on the right? It's because that mixer window is so big, right? So you're not seeing the scene transitions to the right of it. But if you right click.
There's where?
No, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's okay.
But there's a yeah. I've touched that button. I've clicked that button. That digital button, I have told the piece of computer to click it
We'll get there.
before.
We'll get there. We'll definitely get there.
Why does this all just have to be so complicated? Why can't we just bring in what are those people that come into music studios and do work for free?
Do you intern?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And then we just have them do all this.
We'll get there.
All
We
of
just
it.
need to have, like we said, we're getting there. 30, something like that. You know?
I don't know what to do with this. I feel like I need a little.
So
Today's segment is brought to you by.
I'm gonna get more into this MetaTrader situation over
Uh-oh.
the week because the market will open back up on Monday.
It's happening.
Kind of excited about that. We got
So you need a like layman's term, layman term. I don't know, but my thought was you should explain it
explain
because
more.
you're trading currency. Yeah, you didn't explain it. You.
Oh, I didn't explain it.
No.
So
no.
it's basically taking
Yeah.
currency and turning like it's a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
So they're planning on it. It's going to fluctuate every day or over time based on.
Well, every currency has a rate of fluctuation. The U.S. is pretty high, and the lowest would be like the dinar. It doesn't fluctuate. It hasn't, and like it doesn't fluctuate.
So you're basically it's like trading
I think it's called the dinar.
anything, but you're basically trying to buy in when it's low and sell when it's high.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some particular data that you can collect in the app, and there's some charts and stuff that I can see.
Now,
And
are you
there's-
jumping currencies as well? Meaning that like you'll take your currency and put it into someone else's currency and then bring it up and then bring it back and have a greater value.
Yes. Yeah. So you want to go buy some euros and then cash that out and then maybe go buy something else with, that kind of money or whatever, but keep some of your position on the euro at the same time. But I can put in automatic information, so it says start selling at this place, or start buying more when it hits this place. So you can dollar cost average, or you can get out of your position at a certain place, and it's automated. But what's cool about it is some of the charts give you some super indicators that say it hasn't dropped below this at this time, or whatever. There's you turn it into what they call candles, and the candles show you what kind of rates they're dropping at certain hours and things like that. And you can kind of see trends. And when these certain, there's two parameters, when they cross, meaning one's headed up and one's headed down, that's sort of the position that you want to be at when you're buying. So I'm just learning about how it all works. And over the next week, I think I'm going to have a little bit more information based on this. But I started simple with like $50. My buddy started with $500, and he's worked his way up to about $1,800 in about 3 weeks, which is pretty interesting.
That's nice.
If he doesn't pull his money out and continues to go, and that's the thing, is a lot of people,
they pull out. Huh?
They pull out.
Yeah.
It's part of life. I see it all the time.
Well, you don't want to procreate.
They put a little bit of money in to whatever it is, and they're like, let me leverage it. And it's like, if you just leave that alone, it'll be worth a lot more money. They sort of teach kids that, at an early age, or they try to see what their brain's all about.
The marshmallow game.
The marshmallow game, or like, how many jelly beans are in the jar, whatever it is.
It's a little different. The marshmallow game is about patience.
But it's about thinking, right?
I'm going to give you a marshmallow, and I'm going to give them a marshmallow. And then when I come back in an hour, whoever hasn't eaten the marshmallow gets another marshmallow.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Well, what it does is it tells you if that child has the ability to
think beyond just
preserve.
Now. Yeah. Because at some point you'll have 47 marshmallows, and then
s'mores.
But they also
s'mores for everyone.
It goes to you've talked about this, what is it, the twos? What is the rule of 7 or something like this? There's like a rule of like putting your money in, and they talk about it when you're a kid. It's like, would you take a penny every day for 40 years? Well, it's not that much money, but it adds up over time, and then the compounding interest.
It's if it doubles.
But it
start with a penny and then it doubles.
Well, that's also I mean, that's great. That it shows you the ability. We talked about this early on.
That one's insane.
A few episodes ago about how many pennies would it take to stack to the Empire State Building. Well, no, but can you think about it? You're like, okay, so like
it's too much weight.
14 pennies is like an inch. Okay,
there's way less than that.
What? Yeah. Just being able to even think, it doesn't matter what the answer is. It's like, can you think out?
You could Google the average width of a penny.
Without your phone,
I'm curious.
Could you just kind of roughly guesstimate how many pennies it is?
Well, a penny's probably 1/8 of an inch.
So it's like, what, 40 pennies for an inch? Is that what
10
you're saying?
pennies.
10? Okay, 8. If it's 1/8 of an inch, then it would be 8.
But I think it's probably not accurate. It probably has wear.
10.
Probably,
So we'll say 10, and then 12 of those in a foot. So that's 120.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's probably, 14, 16 feet per story in a building. You get my point, right?
10 feet.
You could figure this out. So you have more information than I do about this. It's 10 feet. So it's 1,200 pennies per story.
What it is your average floor is like 8 feet, and then you have the
ceiling and the joists.
Well, no, the space for ventilation, electrical, et cetera, in between each floor. And I think you can get to like 8.5 feet.
So then the next question is like, well, how many floors are on the building?
Oh, the Empire State Building? Ain't got a damn clue.
400 something. Oh. I don't know, but the point is
that's a lot of pennies.
Can you think this stuff out? Is what my point.
I don't feel like this coffee is working.
It's probably not for you.
Yeah,
you probably didn't have enough winkies Z time.
Yeah. No sleep for the willing. You
got the small cup. It says on there. See, there's a size in between your cup and my cup. It was
called
called the
medium.
medium.
Yeah.
And you went far to the left or the right or whatever side it was on, and I was surprised that
That's life.
you weren't going for more bean juice on that one. No?
Didn't happen. It's okay. Pretty much.
Oh.
All right. Well, our camera works. Our music works. We need your computer. Our capture card doesn't work. And what the hell do you want to do next week?
Well, I think we need to have a guest.
Oh, fuck. I love that button. It's the oh, fuck button. Who do we want to... Who's important?
You know, that's the thing. You and I are pretty similar in that sense that we don't really feel like many people.
I knew it. I knew you just wanted to bring midgets.
Oh.
I knew it. They're not. No, we can't call short people that anymore. It's like the word retard. You know, you can't use retard anymore.
No, it's probably not a good word.
I like it. It's a great word.
Have you seen the Joe Rogan thing all about? He talks about all these words. Mm-mm. How like you can't fly like rainbow anymore because like they took that. You can't say. What was he talking about? He's saying like I think it was either gay or fag. I forget which one it was. He's like, but it's not. That's not what the word is. It's just back in when we were
cigarette.
Yeah,
fag.
Sure, there's other terms for it. Absolutely. Yeah. Cigarette. I mean, that's something that's just out of fashion nowadays, huh?
Here.
Yeah.
Here, not the rest of the world.
Like the rest of the country?
No, the rest of the world doesn't vape. That's where I'm going with this one. Oh, yeah. Like if you were to literally type in like Brazil vape shop, I think there's like 4, 5 vape shops in Brazil. And they're, Sao Paulo, like in every major city you have one shop.
Is it because they don't put the same chemicals in their cigarettes as they do?
Probably 100%.
Here?
But then I think you just have other things to do. Because in Brazil, everyone's beautiful.
But I think people smoke there.
But everyone.
People smoke there. Yeah. I think it's just like a social...
100%. It's a different world.
Hey, I just have a cigarette. Yeah. There's some sitting on the bar or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not something people
carry
around.
Well, America pushed it. It was like Ronald Reagan was like, you need to smoke. And there's the cowboy man, like a real man smokes cigarettes. And it's like, they pushed the shit out of that product. Even doctors recommend this cigarette.
But we also smoke in hospitals.
Yeah, we also came from an era where like, refresh your day, have some cocaine in your Coca-Cola. So, I mean, where are we?
Well, have you seen those old ads where they had like whiskey dispensers at the office?
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, that's where
you got a headache, man.
That's where things were at, That's crazy talk, though. That wouldn't be allowed today.
Because the rest of the world is still there.
Well, a lot of the world takes siestas, and I think the Irish are big on that too. They work.
It depends on if you're close to the equator. So if you're close to the equator, you stop.
No, but I think the Irish have a thing about it too, where they like work and then they like take a break. Everyone stops. They could do their thing, come back like 2 or 3 hours later, and they found that it's like super effective for their workforce.
Well, for that atmosphere, whatever it may be.
Sure.
Because the siesta is based around heat. So when you hit the high point of the day, you stop, you go eat, you nap, you chill. Excuse me. And then you come back around and you finish off the day when the temperatures drop. So I'm sure each culture has a different way to tolerate their lifestyle, their atmosphere. Here, the majority of people go to an office building and sit in 70 degrees all day long, clickety, 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 click.
So funny. My buddy recently posted. He works at like a corporate, like a corporate office.
Oh yeah.
And
cubicles.
Like, how is it that all winter the AC, like the heat's not even on?
Correct.
It's the coldest day of the year, and they've got the AC set to like 50 degrees. Like, what in the world is going on? You've been in those buildings.
Yeah, it's not set to 50. It's the fan's just on.
Oh, and it's cold.
Yeah, that's why the fan's on. Yeah, you don't need air movement.
Yeah.
You need a blanket.
It's just funny that engineer needs to be shot.
Well, there's
'Cause, like,
so
they
there's a lot of
freeze.
studies behind it in productivity.
Oh, sure, but
So if I
50
keep you-
degrees.
It's not probably not 50 degrees. It's probably 68. But the reason you're keeping that is that you decrease caloric expenditure and you kind of produce like a sense of like I'm gonna stay here and focus and not move because I'm warm here. So it's kind of a weird psychological manipulation that they use in corporate atmospheres. It's temperature. Same with prisons, jails. So it's a lot of it is about cellular activity.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah.
We can keep you docile.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
You will not want to move. We're
Right.
going to make it so cold.
You just want to lay there.
You're going to wish you brought your onesie to work today.
Yeah. I don't know. So everything's about manipulation. How can we manipulate the brain to do this? How can we manipulate the brain? But you got to go back to the first form of successful governing, which is Catholicism. And when you look at Catholicism compared to Egyptian rule, Catholicism implemented nutrient regulation. So that's where the separation came, is that you made the masses healthier and more productive as a being. So it's like you got a better cattle or better sheep. Excuse me, better sheep. And so with Catholicism, not only was it about a regulated nutrient intake, but it was also about stress. So there was a purpose for midnight mass. So these scenarios to keep you up at certain hours and to stress your brain was actually to produce a more productive, better human. So the thought process was pretty far as how Rome was looking at people and how, it's pretty insane. And when you move forward from there, I don't know if anyone's been, I don't think they'll lack.
Is that one of the reasons why their armies were so successful? Is because they had nutrient understanding like going on? Because, I mean...
No, that's a different argument. That has to do with, I'm probably going to push some buttons here. It has to do with homosexuality.
No, sure. I get that.
You literally.
But I'm asking a question.
They promoted
I get
that behavior.
I'm asking a question about their
strength.
Yeah, because if you don't have the resources,
I'm sure it had to do with their strength.
How are you going to go march? And then you have to have like the resources and the the logistics to get.
That's a really good argument. Hold on here. So food and strength plays a portion of why the force is so resilient, durable, however you want to put it. But then my question would be, I don't even know we have scripture, biblical times went back. Was homosexuality called homosexuality? Because the act of homosexuality between soldiers was passion, and they were alone, and it just wait, I don't know the word. I'm pulling this out of the air pretty much right now. This is not like a textbook. So and the reason that I felt that from what I had learned from history classes was that if you watch someone that was like your lover die, you become enraged. And so this was like an active practice that you wanted that passion to be present during war.
Okay.
Which it's not really, if we start getting into Sun Tzu, he's going to be like, you don't want your passion there. You want to wait.
We're talking more like...
Art of War.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Stand by the river and wait for their body to pass by. Yeah. It's much more peaceful. So
it'll come to you.
Yeah, it's interesting how when you start to look at that, was it because of the passion? Was it because of the anger? Was it because of the nutrients? Was it because...
Well, I was just saying,
yeah,
because you've seen, there's examples of like Napoleon or Hitler or whoever, like going out on these huge, like we're going to conquer all these territories, and they didn't have the logistics. I mean, Hitler is a great example. He had so many fronts going on that he couldn't concentrate any proper resources in any one place because he just was spread so thin, you know?
He wanted the world.
Yeah.
He did pretty good.
Very ambitious. But I'm saying back in Roman time, it just seems like they were so on fucking point
organized
about that stuff, you know? There was like people that had that's the engineer and he figures this stuff out, and there's this guy and this guy.
Well, you're talking about the founding years of philosophy.
Yeah.
And so when you start looking at the founding fathers of philosophy, no one has been able to produce since them, like Aristotle, and I don't need to run down that name and sound like a book nerd, but no one currently, there is no, I guess you would say, like nouveau philosopher. There's no one that has made the impact on the study of human minds. We don't want to say man's mind because we'll start getting into like, well, there's women. So when we start looking at the processing, no one has made any huge leaps since them. I mean, and that's ridiculous.
That could be due to, when something's new.
It's not new. It's dedication of time. So in our society, we don't have the ability to just drink wine, eat fruit, and stare at the stars. And if you do, you come from
that's the interesting part about, say, even the sky. Nobody really knows no one looks up there anymore. How many people like stop and look up?
That's a really weird alley to go. It's not the point of the talk. The point of the talk is that
no, of course.
When we look back at those men literally had no. They didn't have a 9 to 5. They didn't have. So these individuals literally sat and stared and
figured out their environment.
And then all of a sudden that thing moved, and then it moved, and then why did that move? And that's pretty much. So now, in order to be in the position to be a great thinker, I mean, from my point of view, is that you need resources. So either you're sucking those resources from the government through grants, or your family provided for you. And when you do the grant route, it's a really interesting situation because
what if you're like an Elon Musk or something?
Where there's very few people
happen to just have a super successful business early on.
Well, PayPal's different. PayPal, when you start looking at, but he also had family resources. He had family intelligence. He had relationships. When you go back and you look,
books and stuff, right? There's a lot of input.
He's everywhere. He was
traveling,
he was everywhere. Like you literally, when you look back now and you blink, it was like this guy was everywhere. Like he was everywhere.
Diplo's a little bit like that.
He was even in Marvel movies. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like Elon was like Iron Man. He's at a dinner. I mean.
Anyway, sorry for the departure from where you were headed. But
no, but the point is that you start to look at
you were talking about resources.
Yeah, society and how it handles things, and how nowadays I think in general when you look at Catholicism and you look at nutrient intake and then you move forward. So we did have a progression, and I kind of feel like that would be Western society when we started developing settlements and building, and then Western civilization started to appear. And at that point in time, we started to look at, like, I guess you would say, like a farm diet, right? So if we look at the difference in nutrient intake from the Catholic rule, which was fish and chicken, and you stayed away from pork, and you stayed away from things that would kill you because they didn't have a healthy consumption. And you run into that middle era, which would have been like potatoes, corn, vegetables, steak, right? And so that produced a very healthy individual. That produced an amazing mind. Now, that nutrient. So whether or not society complemented that is a completely different argument. You could be
so the two will never line up. So.
Yeah. So then now we're at an era where I feel like nutrient is second, and so we're declining drastically as far as the ability to produce thought or to be original, and a lot of that has to do with, I'll leave that last door empty. Has to do with money and gain. So. Like McDonald's does a really cool project, right? That wrapper that says 100% beef is a company that they own. It's called 100% beef, so that they can put that wrapper on products that are not 100% beef, and there's no violation in law because the company's name is 100% beef.
Yeah, that's.
So this is where we're at now. Is we're at a part in time in history where it's about money. It's not about nutrient, and it's not even about meeting your base caloric need, because we're starting to really see the effects of nutrient deprivation, especially in the United States with all the cancers and all the diseases and all of these, where you put corn syrup in the body and all of this shit that just.
It's interesting because there was a time when it's like niacin or something like that. There was
still good. It'll
rice.
Yeah.
Have you seen like rice? It says enriched with.
Sure.
And there's like nutrients in it. Well, at one point,
you didn't need to enrich it.
People were had a really shitty diet. like rice and maybe a little bit of meat or something.
Fish, yeah,
This
rice
is like
and fish.
This is like Dust Bowl. I'm talking like.
Well, no, that'd be normal for Korea. Like you would get like 2 servings, maybe 3 servings of rice a day and a serving of fish.
But I'm talking about American products, and at some point they started introducing enriched with flour that was enriched and rice and things like that.
But at the same time, they're also removing.
Of course, but these were the building blocks, and they were finding that people were getting super duper sick, and it's because they didn't have any vegetable, any. Not vegetables, but vitamins and stuff in their diet at all.
Yeah.
So
Nutrients.
they were offsetting it. It was part of the government came in and was like, you need to put, because people that can't afford. I mean, that's the funny thing about McDonald's. It's horrible for you, but I'm sure it's pumped full of something in there, right?
Oh no, I wouldn't. No. You start looking at supersized meat and things like that, and you realize what it does to the human body. I can't. Unless we're trying to preserve the structure way beyond its expiration.
Crazy. Like an enlarged spleen that's like
we're good. It's weird.
The size of a grapefruit.
So weird.
The body's amazing what it will do.
What it'll tolerate.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it's tolerating, when you end up with masses and weird developing fat and your brain can't think, is it really tolerating?
Well, you're just existing at that point, right?
I don't know. Ask America. It's crazy.
Anyways, I find it's funny when any entity steps in to make a new rule, like you have to put, enrichment in the rice or whatever.
Well, I mean, at that point, that was about keeping the mass alive. It's like we've already depleted the mass, so we just got to keep the mass alive. You got to remember, at the end of the year, they want your tax money. It's like shearing the sheep.
Well, you're a commodity.
It's like shearing the sheep.
They can trade off of you based on being a
number, tax ID number.
Yeah, another number in this.
But the same thing happens. You look at the sheep. So you have a baby sheep and you have a full-grown sheep. They're going to yield you different, yards of wool.
Well, different quality as well, right?
Yeah. Well, depending on back to nutrients. The older sheep would still have good wool unless he's lacking proper nutrient source. So that whole principle is realistic in society. They want you to be healthy as long as possible because they want your money. And that's why the act of suicide is illegal, because you're stopping a revenue source from the government prematurely. And that's not okay, because they have a calculated expectation based off of each human being on how much revenue they should acquire from each person. And if you interfere with that formula, that's not okay.
Well, that's why they want you to be born in a hospital, and they want you to register, and they want you to... Money. It's funny, a lot of kids nowadays, you get like a social security number when you're born, right? But back in the day, you'd have to go like register and whatever.
Take your birth certificate, go to SS department.
Not anymore.
No.
That's like automated. They're like, whoop, we got another one. Money. Here it is. Boom.
Yeah. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. So that same principle, that's, and it's interesting now that, so instead of looking at it as if we keep them healthy or we get more money, it's no, if we can just keep them alive. It's not even about keeping them healthy. It's like if we can just keep them alive. And in that same philosophy or ideology, whatever you want to call it, is what sits in pharmaceuticals world, is that we're not trying to heal you. We're just trying to keep you coming back to our front door every month. Because if we stop you from coming to our front door, then where's our money? So this isn't about actually trying to heal you. It's about producing a residual patient.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's all this is, and you got to remember.
It's amazing that Congress allows or these.
Whatever. There's money put into those people's pockets, and it's by the pharmaceutical companies that spent the millions of dollars to develop a pill that isn't really effective. And if I spent $30 million developing a pill that's not really effective, and the next pill I develop is effective, I still have to push that shitty ass pill to the market and regain my losses. Once I've regained my losses and the expected profit, then I can move on to the product that I've had the whole time that actually would be beneficial to society. So this process is about, it's money. It's how do I regain what we've been doing? You look at Amgen, how many billions of dollars annually do they putting into development of pharmaceutical products? So, now they have all these pharmaceutical products, and maybe 9 out of 10 are kind of effective in the area of application, but 1 out of 10 is. Now that 1 out of 10, they can't put that first because then it negates the 9 out of 10.
They haven't gotten their money out of it.
So they got to push the 9 out of 10. Side effects might be death, diarrhea. It's like fuck. And then the next one's like, oh, the side effects just might be diarrhea. And, then they move you to the point where, oh, look, we found this one that works. Like, no, you had the one that works, but you didn't regain your losses from the other 9 yet. And that's literally cancer development. That's AIDS research. That's where everything is now we're getting to a point where the AIDS research in the 80s that was effective is now coming forward fucking 30 something years later. We've but if you had the money, like magic, you'd be fine. But the reason that works that way is because he had the money. He had the money to turn around and say, okay, here's $30 million for the treatment.
Excuse me.
Because that treatment wasn't available to the public until now. They needed 30 years of all the other shitty shit that didn't work.
Is that mind over matter?
Some of it. Look at Eric.
Did he just say, I'm going to beat this?
I think it's distractions and happiness. So, like, if you're distracted with stress and business, you're going to die. If you're distracted with young kids and having sand dropped off in your backyard so that you could produce dunes with the G.I. Joes and, like, that's how you're spending your day, of course you're going to fuck the table. You're going to throw the odds way off because you're sitting in a different cellular realm, completely different frequency.
Yeah, it's true.
Your day is like, I'm going to Toys R Us and we're going to get the fucking Middle Eastern desert and I'm going to have sand delivered and then we're going to get the trucks and we're going to make a whole scene. And it's like,
we used to love doing that with like toothpicks and rubber bands and all sorts of household items, making like obstacle courses and
everything.
All sorts of stuff for G.I. Joes and shit. That was so cool back in the day.
Shit's different now.
Kids don't go outside anymore.
No, they stare at computer screens. They're here, which is going to produce a lot of neck issues. It's going to produce a lot of neck issues.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. We had the Wii elbow, and I think that ain't shit compared to, the iPhone neck. Yeah, I like that. That's a lot. That's a lot of input right there. It's a lot of input.
It's a lot of input. 7 cameras.
Yeah.
Capture card for some reason just doesn't want to do capturing. So
I don't know. Life's a trip. I guess I'll do this. I'll close this out like my therapist does.
Closing it out.
I'm just being a smartass right now. I'm going to close this out like it's a bullshit. We ain't closing out. But I'm going to close it. Just let me run the thought.
Okay. You can have the thought.
Said, what'd you learn? What'd you learn this week or this hour, however you want to put it? And
what have you learned this week?
And I looked at him and I was like, well.
Oh, this applies to this. Okay.
Yeah. No, today for everyone. And it was anger, right? Like last night, I got all frustrated because you just decided, well, you're going to drive and I'm going to Uber home. And it had a physiological effect to it. And it was like, that was what was weird. And when I saw that happen, I got all upset. The fact that I had a physiological effect to you just making irrational decisions, which is cool. Whatever. It's life. Whatever. It shouldn't have a physiological effect to it. And so when I was with the therapist, I was all upset because everyone in life tells you to like, this is where you should go. You should dedicate yourself. You should put up with it. It's your child. All the scenarios you hear. And
that's not the sentiment you heard that day.
Yeah, no. And so it was weird because I had to tell him, I was like, prior to this conversation, I was angry at people when they were giving me that input because in my heart, I felt like I needed to go a different route. And the therapist agreed with me. So the point of this is that I was letting anger affect all these relationships because it was like I was insecure with the decision I was making. And so all these people are trying to tell me to go a different way, even though I know the right way. And because of all the input, it produced a sense of insecurity, which produces a sense of like aggression. You get frustrated. You want to just can't do this. And so what I learned was the process of digesting anger and frustration is Exactly.
Sorry about that.
Exactly. It's
I didn't even notice the music was playing anymore because
Yeah.
I was like so into what you were saying.
yeah. So the point was is that it takes a lot of work to process frustration and anger, and you have to be aware of any physiological change.
Well, if something's affecting you to where you're making a different decision than you normally would, there's not something to work on there, but that's just a marker to show you. Usually, if I find when I reflect back, I'm like, oh, I have some work that I can do in this area. I've been reactive. I have a wife. We've been through some stressful stuff with,
Life,
whatever, and getting a house, all the stressful things in a very short amount of time. And then you just have to take a deep breath and relax and be like, I don't know. It's like, do you value the experience more than you do the pain that you might experience during that time? Does that make sense? Is that a equation?
I'm one step in front of that, though. I'm saying that.
Sure.
That when you start to feel yourself like raise your voice, like why, and it's like in that moment to learn to go, why am I even?
Well, it's interesting because
responding.
Does something affect you? Because you can go back to the primal stuff, which is either fear-based, or it's
usually insecurities. When someone responds at this point in society, it's not a primitive. It's usually some type of.
But that comes down. Insecurities come from fear, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And then fear is just like a very primitive sort of like fight or flight kind of situation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of people are trained to run. The super successful people I find don't run from anything. They just walk right into whatever it is and they deal with it. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting when you start having physiological responses to things that...
Yeah, and then to learn to take in that frustration. So like that moment where you literally just, you want to scream and throw things or whatever, hit a windshield with a shovel, something.
It's usually temporary though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it takes 10 minutes, it goes away. But even in situations where, you're dealing with an ex or divorce or children or whatever, that it doesn't go away. It's a constant. It's like when the pain loop is open when you hurt your back and you pinch a nerve and then you expect it to go away and it doesn't go away.
But there's a psycho component to that, a psychological component to that, which is you're afraid you're going to hurt your back, and therefore after the injury's gone is what I'm talking about. And then you're walking in a certain way. And
we're talking about it. I'm talking about it's called a pain loop. So when you pinch a nerve.
I understand that, but then there's like something beyond that, which is like you could possibly hurt yourself again or walk into the same scenario because you're expecting it to happen again. Yeah. So
I guess it doesn't, I don't know.
It's not what you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to relate to him. Like, no, the two don't go together.
No, my point is that beware of behaviors that allow those things to happen again because of your own insecurities or fears or whatever it is. I'm not talking specifically to you.
I understand.
I'm talking about in general about
so you take a conversation which is like a nice stroll down the street and like
just hammer it.
No, it's not even that. It's that like you're in a conversation and people are walking down the street with you and admiring the fucking window decor or how they did landscaping or whether or not they used.
I throw a rock at the window.
No, and it's like 2 blocks over there's high rises. And the high rises, once upon a time, it was a residential neighborhood, but then they gentrified. And then after they gentrified, and but in between the two, there's a motorhome park, right? And and it was an RV park, but then they stopped and they moved in motorhomes, and they're like double wides. There's a couple triple wides, and the lawn, yeah, that is AstroTurf, yeah. So, and it's really it's intriguing because you got to find a way to like.
Rope it back in.
Yeah, not even rope it back in. Is that like stay on the path and then walk in that direction after you've cleared the subject so that the person's not sitting there going,
what are they talking about?
Where did it go? How did that happen?
What are they talking
Did I miss
about?
a couple chapters?
Yes.
Did he just go to the end of the book?
The podcast skipped ahead 10 minutes.
Is this choose your own adventure? You can either go to page 13 or 26.
26.
Go.
26, you have to flip a lot of pages.
Yeah.
Then what if you get distracted in
And
between
it's
the
screwed up, 'cause
pages?
you get to 26, you finish 26, and it tells you go back to 7 or go to 43, and you're like,
What if? Oh, have you ever gotten back and then you come back again?
Oh, yeah.
And then
Oh.
you shut the book. That's when you shut the book. You're like, nope, not doing this one again.
oh, I can't.
What am I
believe it.
supposed to do? Pick something different than I picked the first time?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, now I know what I'm influencing the story.
Oh, wow.
Now I know what happens.
Thank you, choose your own adventure.
Or like you were wrong, you went to the wrong page. You start reading that, and
You're
you're like,
talk-
no,
that
no,
doesn't even line up
no,
anymore.
wait, you were
Yeah,
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit like my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain jumps all around
Yeah.
in the subject matter.
It's not good.
It's not good?
No.
Oh.
No. It's like 9 cameras, but half of them are in a different building.
Hmm.
We're gonna go to camera 6.
I thought it was fairly
Oh, yeah.
relatable.
That's the loading dock. That's Rob.
I thought it was fairly relatable in the sense that there's other parts to expound on. Like the thought is not just one linear thought. I'm trying to inject a whole nother process into it.
Can't. It's like you're the person that goes to Asia, speaks Chinese, but does it in an English dialogue.
And then I ask for pizza.
Yeah, not even that. So in Asia,
Where's the pizza?
it's like talking is bowling. So the oldest starts, and he's like, so
Yeah.
the other day, blah, 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 blah.
And then if you talk, like if you're talking after that person, you have to say, well, last week when my uncle,
100%.
blah, 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 blah.
They have to
And,
start
and then
all
his
over.
brother, who's not my dad,
in his world, and
yeah,
that
yeah.
happened. And then me. Yeah. No, and then an American comes in and is like, hey, but last week I went to this mall, and they had great churros. And they're looking at you like,
what's a mall?
did you just like pick up the bowling ball and throw it back at me? And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And you're fine with it. But they're all looking at you like, my feet hurt from the bowling ball.
Well, I didn't throw it at your feet.
Well, that's where it fell.
Did it?
Yeah, because you threw the bowling ball back at me.
Okay.
No one here was expecting the bowling ball to even come anywhere near your back. Maybe.
Was it not? That's not, the bowling ball's not supposed to come back. is what
No,
you're
it's
saying.
supposed to keep going. So what it is in
It's
America,
like the bump on the log with the frog and the hole and the thing and the
No, that's Irish. So,
What?
or Scottish.
What do you mean?
That's an Irish wedding thing. But
Do you know
that's not
what I'm
the
talking
point.
about?
Tennis. So American conversation is tennis, right? You could kind of say it like volleyball in aggressive fashion, but it's more or less like tennis. Like,
What's the game where you have to reiterate the thing before? There's like a bunch
it's
of
an Irish wedding song.
Oh, okay. But there's also like an American card
You can-
game,
you
right?
can
Where
YouTube it.
you have to play like
YouTube it.
A, B, C, D, and then it's like
Just type
the
in-
apple and the
Just type in Irish wedding jig song.
Irish.
Type it. Put in 5 a.m. drunk Irish wedding.
I love that you were making a point and then I just keep doing it. So sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just at some point in time, someone will write it in on a blog or something like that, and you'll be like, "Oh,
No Irish wedding is complete without this song. Well, we'll have to listen to
Nope,
what that song
probably
is.
not it." You're gonna see the bride. She's in all white, drunk at like 3 a.m. The whole family's there.
Yeah. I'm just not sure we're allowed to play that.
Oh, it's why?
Let's
It's a
see
family
here.
video.
Let's see here. Bump on the log and the hole and the frog and the... Nope. Anyways, let's see here.
You're not plugged into your phone.
I'm plugged in.
Oh, are you?
I do things.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. May I see the screen? Yeah, that's it. That's the video.
It's not what I was talking about, but
Those are the words you were using. I'm just letting you know.
I said frog. They're saying bog.
Whatever. But those are the words you were using. A tree and a hole and a hole and a tree and a frog and a log and a bog and a frog and a... Yeah, I'm in there with you.
I have seen that video. That is hilarious.
Yeah, got you.
That's not what I was talking about, though. Don't you remember that thing back when you were a kid? You have to say there's a tree and a lake and the hole and there's a frog and there's a...
Cat's cradle? What? Yeah. Your camera's on point. My camera's not. Your camera's like flawlessly centered. Mine is not. Who knows? Yeah. It's fun. It's been a blast. It's been real. Oh, just fucking... Starting to get to that like uncomfortable, like I want just headphones off.
It's funny because you see some people, they do a podcast without headphones.
Yeah.
But we're pumping in stuff from like here. And
We
you
need to
be
know
able
what's going on.
Hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find this thing. It wouldn't be dead air if I had my laptop. I forgot my laptop today, which is why.
That's why there's that signal.
See that one on the top right there?
Yeah, that right there.
It's this one. Well, it's not. It's supposed to be that one, but it's this one, the one on the top up there.
That one. Yeah.
This one doesn't have it. So I guess on that
There's
note,
a picture of 4. Hold on. Where's the 4?
what for?
There's 4. There's a picture of 4.
This
Oh.
one. Oh,
No, I don't. There it is.
cool.
All right.
There we go.
That was a lot. Wow.
What if we go back to here? How many places do you see me waving? Is it like, hey?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 waves. 5.
It's awesome. Well, thanks for coming out today. Thanks for doing this.
Who are you talking to? Yourself?
To everybody.
Oh.
To you, me, thanking myself
No
for
one is
waking
listening
up.
to us at Sunday morning right now. No one.
That's, yeah. But
Maybe 3 people. And they probably tuned in for 2 minutes and went, can't do this. Painful.
Sunday mornings? What did you say, when 2 or more are gathered?
Yeah, I am there. It's a scriptural thing.
You're here.
Where 2 or more are gathered, I am there.
Well, until next week, hopefully we'll feel comfortable to have a guest on. I think the technology part is good.
We're brought to you by the letter B and blueberries.
Blueberries.
Thank you, Camarillo/Santa Rosa Valley, for producing amazing blueberries for over the last 30 years and opening up your home in the last decade to allowing lovely children to pick their fruit. Yes, there is a Pick Your Blueberry farm in Camarillo, California, open all week, that charges you, I think, by the ounce, when they give you a little tiny green bucket and they let your toddler go to town. Thank you.
What's the place called?
It's a blueberry farm. I don't know. Go to Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go to Google. Maybe we'll put it in the show.
Camarillo Blueberry Farm.
All right.
Bam. Other than that, brought to you by Life.
RMC.
Life cereal.
From RMC. Thanks.
On the cusp of North Hollywood, Burbank, out of a quaint little building owned by the Rafe family.
Thanks so much,
That
everyone.
music's very loud.
Is it?
It's fucking loud.
I thought you wanted it that loud.
No, in the beginning it's nice, but then
Oh.
like the whole band jumps in.
It does. When it kicks in round 3
Oh,
there, it's
bro.
like boom, ba boom, boom.
No, the beginning first 30 seconds.
It seems very like...
How come it defaults to that?
It's the next thing in my playlist. It's supposed to be here on the machine, but I didn't bring my computer, so I'm doing this all sort of like,
All right.
you know, from here, you know?
Oh, there's a jam.
So this could be our like out music. How long did we
I don't know.
did it? We did an hour. It's good. All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Did we do an hour? Hour and 9 minutes? No.
Yeah, because it
Fully-
was 9:02 when you hit the button.
We have an hour and 47 minutes recorded.
Because that was set up and we were playing around. You were making a bee.
Yeah, all the
sorts of
things that you
stuff.
can't do, like music, that someone owns. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I don't know about this song. It feels like someone tried.
I'll download more stuff.
See, this just sounds like...
This is fun. I like it for a Sunday morning thing.
Yeah.
I like it. It gets me feeling good.
Brought to you by the number
It's
2.
a little like Little Mermaid-ish at the same time.
I
in
feel
a
like
certain
we
way.
could even pull off like the number 2. 1.
Oh.
2.
I used to love that when I was a kid. I used to like watch it just for that because like you
yeah.
were done and then you're like, but the count could come on,
dude.
He hasn't come on yet.
No.
They did that one with like a space in the background.
Yeah. Count was floating.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone again. Have a lovely week. We'll see you soon.